Thank you, Scott. Great, great. Hi,
Well,
Steve, my old partner. How you doing,
well,
buddy?
I'm doing good. Happy
Yes,
Monday.
yes. Happy Monday. It's like old times. Steve and I was doing this about a dozen years ago. So you guys bear with us today. We had to put this together pretty quick. Jamie had to take care of some business and asked me to fill in for him. So you guys take it easy on me. Let's uh, let's dive in, but first let's go over the disclaimer here, guys. All right, want everybody to keep in mind this is for educational purposes only. All right, Steve and I are going to be talking about some stuff here today, some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to talk more about Brokerage Plus and things like that, but guys, nothing should be construed as investment advice. That's not what we're here to do. If that is what you're seeking, please look for a RIA, a registered advisor like a broker, stockbroker, or something who can act in that capacity. But anyway, we're going to have some fun. Let's dive in. And before we move on, let's talk about all the incredible support, guys, that we have, education and support that we have here at Trade Ideas. We realize it's a powerful software, and we want to give you every advantage you can get going into it, and we do that here. And the way we do that is, let's start out with the traders room. Okay, we have a free traders room with about 500 plus traders in there, moderated by Barry, great trader. You get to see our software in action and listen to trades being called out, and boy, just a great hangout. I can't think of a better place to be if you're new to trading, or even if you're not. A lot of advanced traders in there. We have also, you can see, guys, all the webinars we have throughout the week, office hours. Normally Jamie and Steve. We got Trade of the Week with Steve, and I'm co-anchoring him in that. And then Q&A demo on Wednesday. We throw Dan Merkin and Brad Williams. That's our CEO and CTO. And then usually on Thursday, it's myself and Jamie with Andy's studio. And let's not forget about the Friday support session. That's a come one, come all open forum to ask questions, and we answer them. And that's at 11 a.m. Eastern time every Friday. It's scheduled for 3 hours. And bear with me, guys, because Jamie's lineup here is a lot different than mine. We do have TI University. We do not want to forget about this, guys. Once you sign up for Trade Ideas, you have the opportunity to take TI University, which is a 4-class series that starts on Monday with 101. These are all at 12 Eastern time. And then we follow it up with 201. You can see it's a graduating class all the way till Thursday. And that's where Jamie rounds it out with the advanced class. These are scheduled for like an hour and a half. You get about an hour worth of curriculum, and then that opens it up for Q&A. Great place to be, guys, to learn the product. And I can guarantee you, you take these 4 classes, and then you come to our support questions with any other questions that you might have, and you're going to have a real good grasp of the software coming out of that week for sure. If for any reason that you cannot make these, all right, we do have them recorded on our playlist, and maybe I can get Steve to drop that playlist in the chat window for you.
Sure.
So they are recorded. Thanks, Steve. They are recorded on our YouTube channel, and you can watch them there. The advantage about coming to them live is we do have a Q&A at the end of them, so you can ask questions. All right, let's see what's next. Looks like Jamie has a slide in here showing subscriber growth, which is, you can see there, guys, what has been happening over the last few years, okay? And this is not because Trade Ideas stinks, that's for sure. And you can see what's happening there. A lot of people are finding our technology, and the growth is going really strong. And I only expect, with the introduction of Brokerage Plus and now the launch of AI with the Brokerage Plus, it's going to even grow faster. All right, let's take a look at today's class. It's a little bit wonky for me. This is not the way mine is structured, but let's just talk about what we're going to do here today. We're going to talk about the market recap. I'm going to let Steve talk about that. Expectations, this looks like something Jamie has thrown in there. I'm going to jump over that. We're going to talk about the Holly recap. I'll talk about that as well. I'm going to focus on Holy Grail. today because I think there's some great trades both in risk on and risk off. We'll take a look at the others, and it's not that I'm avoiding the bad segments. They were all up on the day. I just thought Holy Grail was more impressive, but we'll take a look at some losers as well. And then, guys, I know this looks very similar to what I talked about in my Thursday's class, but it's because it is. It's going to be very similar to what I talked about on Thursday class, and the reason it is because we are launching this week AI for Brokerage Plus, where you can automate AI in your Brokerage Plus, and I think it's very important, guys, that we show you the setup, how to create the strategies, enable the strategies, create the trading instructions. So there's just a lot of things we need to go over. And not only that, Steve and I will surely share with you some advice that we think is important before you just go and turning on the on button on the Holly AI for auto trading. And not sure why Jamie has Andy Studio. Maybe he just wants to throw that out one more time in his curriculum. But let's back out. And what I'll do is now I'm going to turn it over to Steve and let him go over the market recap. I'll have some things to say about it as well. And he'll also go over the segments with you. So let me see.
Sure. I was just trying to answer Randy. We only have webinars on Tuesday and Wednesday. If it's not the Trade Ideas University, then it's going to be the afternoon webinars. And those are always at this same time, 5 o'clock Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for any confusion there. All right, so let's bring it on over. Red Rover, screen 1. All right, and zoom out just a little bit here. So you go over kind of what we always look at, the ETFs here of the 4 majors and also some sectors. But what I'm kind of seeing is a little fractal cup and handle. We asked, there was our big dip. We asked for somewhat of a pullback. We got a shallow pullback. So, in a sense, that's kind of a cup and handle setup there. But what I'm actually seeing now is another little cup and handle within a cup and handle. I mean, this is a market that just will not be denied. It just keeps marching forward and gives very shallow pullbacks. And if I erase that again and we zoom in a little bit more, what we're seeing is, again, we talk about this a lot, sideways consolidation. And of course, we really need to put this in perspective. I'm going to go back and remind you, we've got the 3 sisters over here, huge resistance, but we're fighting through it. Now we can zoom back in and have a reference point. We're really fighting through it right here for the most part. I suppose we could even go back up there and try and adjust it a little bit, but sideways action means this price action still has a lot of fight in it. There's a lot of fight in this price action, and again, just a little cup and handle within a cup and handle. It seems like this market really is just looking for a reason. So maybe some sort of a news catalyst usually is what happens, but looking for a reason to push through and resolve this tremendous level of resistance that we've had here in the S&Ps. We're back above the 200-day and have been for a week now, closing above it each time. The moving averages are starting to get fanned out. So the S&P is looking decent. I mean, barring any black swan, bad news event out there that could take us down, feels like the market's just waiting for the opportunity to move higher. Just kind of what it seems like. In the NASDAQ land, even stronger. There was our pullback there, and we're not even getting sideways action in the NASDAQ. We're getting that train is leaving the station kind of a look. We're getting moving averages that are now fanned out and above the proper levels, the 10 above the 20 and 20 above the 50 and so forth. So, this market has had a lot thrown at it over the last couple months, a lot of resistance points, a lot of moving averages to crush through, the 200 being a big one. But it seems to have met the call each time and continues to fight through it. So, that's really the story of this market. It's just kind of a zombie market. You put a few bullet holes in it, takes a few steps back, but just keeps on marching. And the Q is definitely leading the way with not so much as even a pullback recently. When we go over and look at the S&Ps, of course, doing their sideways action. Looking at some of the third and fourth tier ETFs, the IWM Russell 2000, is still showing a little bit of fits here underneath the 20 period, but sideways action. It seems like it's probably just looking for a reason. And if the NASDAQ doesn't halt and the S&P doesn't halt what they're doing, it's just a matter of time before it probably pulls up these small caps in this IWM ETF as well. We can see it's had trouble with the 200-day moving average in the past, so I anticipate if all things stay solid and bid out there that another date with the 200-day moving average could be coming into play here real shortly on the IWM. And lastly, the Dow, also still well above its 200-day, not pulling back. You know, there's really no major red flags to throw up right now, except the respective pivot levels, which would be right here in the Dow. It's going to have a date with that. So, you know, there's no reason to think they're not going to come up and have a fight with these levels, because they've just seemed to do it every single step of the way. And there's no real bad news out there. The market's not really focusing on anything. Let's take a look at the treasuries real quick. The treasuries are kind of in a holding pattern. It seems like if the market does break out and stocks move higher, in my opinion, I'm sure Andy would agree, the asset class is going to be a big movement in money managers getting people out of bonds and back into stocks. So if we get a confirmation of a movement up in stocks and a pullback in this TLT ETF, that'll signify that that indeed is catching back up with the market, that defensive stance that money managers have to constantly play. They can't day trade the market. They have to move with a ship in and out. And we've also talked a lot about this 200-day moving average. A lot of times when the markets are under the 200-day moving average, money managers might be a bit more defensive. But once we've reestablished that 200-day and proven that we can stay above it, they're going to probably have to make another big allocation push. I know I probably will, and in my retirement account, if this keeps up. So we'll see where it goes from there. What I also thought we would do is, normally I don't do this on Jamie's session, but the way this market's been grinding higher, it's a perfect illustration of the market that is constantly in rotation, constantly passing the baton. You know, on Friday, the semiconductors were the talk of the town. They had a nice breakout, but consolidation inside day today. Well, this, it's not even our biggest one. OIHs are the talk of the town today. They are the ones breaking out and taking the baton and moving. And when we looked at sectors last week, I'm going to go down the list here, but one of the things that was concerning me at the moment was this financial and bank sectors. They kind of popped back up into that resistance level, and I thought, well, there's a pretty good chance they might find some resistance, but they didn't. Just like every other sector that seems to take the baton and move forward in the same direction, is fighting its way through. And the financials, which is a very important sector always. If we go in and look at the XLF, that's the bank ETF, if we look at the financials, they're even more desirable. They're actually breaking out and closed above the 200-day today. Now, a lot of people say you really can't have a healthy market rally without the financials participating. So last week in these bank stocks, they just weren't looking that solid, but then when we go to the XLF, I think that's pretty solid as well. The financials are trying to stick their head up technically and have a reason for maybe dragging the market higher. Just real quick before I give it back to Andy, I did want to look at a few sectors, and they're all sorted by the strength today. So like I said, you know, Friday was the semiconductors. They were in fashion. Today, they really weren't. They passed the baton to something else, and tomorrow that will probably be the case as well. It's hard to find leadership in one sector for too long before it stalls out and gives way to something else. There's the solars, looking pretty decent. And what I'm going to be looking at in all these charts is kind of how they're handling this area in here. And the solars are attempting to break out, showing some strength there. So we looked at the banks, definitely working through their issues in those levels. UNG, just forget natural gas. Steel, looks like it's trying to work out through some issues as well. Energy, same, nice green candle today. China stocks. There's our financials, which we just looked at and did give a tip of the hat to the ability to bounce off this pullback that we had. Not even a sideways, it's almost a train's leaving the station, and then boom, a close above this 200 days. Very significant. I guarantee you there's a lot of fund managers and money managers talking today, trading emails, waiting and noticing that, oh, we finally got the financials to get back above the 200-day moving average, and we haven't had that for a while. So this is significant. I'm sure Andy's over there nodding his head. uh, FXI, that's more China. And then we're going to start to get into the more of the doldrums of today. Those are brokers. Oil, the commodity is definitely breaking out of a congestion. That's a pretty healthy looking chart. It's probably one of the reasons the oil services are at the top today. We looked at the IWM retail. Now, retail is struggling, so the consumer's not buying into this yet. They're still getting caught up here in this webbing of these moving averages. So nothing really to write home about in retail. Home builders, same situation there, getting caught up in the webbing. Spider, we looked at that. Technology is going to mirror the NASDAQ. Agriculture, diamonds, we did look at that. NASDAQ, we looked at that. So now we're starting to get to the bottom of the barrel for today. Healthcare can't break its way out of those moving averages. Gold, the commodity, still compressed, but under its key moving averages there. Healthcare, this is healthcare. I was looking at silver first, I'm sorry. Here's healthcare, actually not bad. Flat, sideways, moving. Might want to watch healthcare tomorrow. 3 or 4 days of sideways action above the moving averages. Could have a big move in a changing of the guards tomorrow over there. We looked at TLT. What's that? Biotech's. It's kind of in no man's land still. No, I'm not on mute. Well, you wouldn't be able to hear me anyway, Alex. There's our semis, kind of a day of rest after a big Friday pop. Ooh, that looks pretty ugly. Don't be buying airlines here. Probably Boeing having a lot to do with this, but there's the moving average coming down to meet a dead cat bounce, and the price is being thrown down. If you're trying to get bullish on airlines, don't think much more about that. REIT stocks pulling back, possible tradable bounce off of that. And then the gold miners just can't really get out of the way either as the stocks continue to move higher. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in the bigger picture today. Anything you want to add to that, Andy? Feel free.
Oh no, Steve, you hit it. You hit it pretty good there, man. It's not really not. It's the same place it was on Thursday. You know, the market's trying to, like I said, just kind of slowly break out of this level of resistance. It's being held out for 6 or 7 months now, and it looks like it's giving it a gallant effort. But you know, we're still not out of the water for sure. But
you do agree that XLF close today is a bit significant?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Good. Just want to get you.
It is. Where, just out of curiosity, where's TLT at? Did you look at that yet?
Yeah, it's waiting for resolution.
Yeah.
It could, like I said, if stocks take off, this could fall back down. If stocks get resistance and start to sell a little bit, TLT's poised for a possible break, but it's not giving us any indication either way at the moment.
What I don't want to see is stocks moving and TLT moving and gold moving. You know that, because then we're just getting back to the way it was in 2010, 2011, where all assets are just moving higher, which probably means we're going back closer to zero interest rates.
We couldn't get very far. We couldn't stray very far.
Well, let me take it back, and I'll help Randy get this link he so desires real quick. Let me grab it.
By the way,
all right. Now, I dropped a link in the chat window, Randy. Okay. If you click on that link, you're going to be taken to this page right here. Okay. And what you want to do, Tuesday's webinar is a little bit different, and it's a subscription and not just a regular registration. So you want to click on subscribe. Okay. Once you've done that, you want to click on the free instant access button. There you'll enter your name and your email, and you will start getting the trade of the week sent to your email every, I think, what is Sunday evening, Steve, or something like that?
It goes out Monday morning.
Monday morning. All right.
Did you take the screen back yet? You did not, did you?
Oh, it's not showing?
No, I'm just going to say before I go, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the trade of the week. This is at LSCC. It did not trigger. You could see it was really riding those moving averages nice and tight, but the big caveat is that it already had a nice big move. So it was either going to do one of two things. It was either going to fail or it was going to push through and continue more. So big washout today. I don't know.
Steve, I did take it. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
No big
that's
deal.
right. You want to take it back? I forgot. We're not having the webinar
Yeah, because
tomorrow.
we're also not having that webinar tomorrow. There's a company event that's preventing us from being able to get together. But
Okay.
back to my screen. This was LSCC, had a big event, and it's really still been moving higher off this. Obviously, a nice test here of that moving average, another nice test here, and it was squeezing into a really nice smaller candle pennant, and it could have gone either way. And what we wanted to see was a few extra wiggle cents up here to not just go through by a penny and then reverse. But I had said if it did actually go through, it's one of those trades you're going to want to watch really closely, because these are the ones that can get kind of squirrely, as evidenced by today. Didn't even get close to the trigger. It just opened up and threw some nasty elbows to the downside. So, it's not looking near as good as it did going into the weekend, guys. So
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to address that. It might be a non-event this week in that one. But also tomorrow, that webinar will be canceled. We will be back the following Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Right, Wally. No TOW webinar tomorrow. Yeah, we're got a company event. All right, let
Right.
me take you
There you go.
back real quick. All right, and Randy, this is what I was showing you. Okay, I put the link in the chat window, and this is what that link leads to. It's our events and webinar page, and it's not a registration. It's just you'll see the word subscribe right here. That's what you want to do. You want to click on that, and then click on the free instant access, and then fill out your name and email. You have to do this on top of the registration ones you do for the regular webinars. So just by signing up for webinars and registering does not get you into this one. It's a whole different subscription. All right, let's see what's next. All right, let's go to give us your valuable price alerts. Yeah, if we have time, we'll do some price alerts at the end there, Waleed. But what I wanted to do today was pull over the because we're hearing right now it's set to go live with the AI. Let me go ahead and just clear out this tab right here, and let's go with what I was talking about. You're going to be able to auto trade AI Holly on Wednesday. Okay, so unless things change, okay, but right now everything is running smooth and it's scheduled for launch on Wednesday. All right, so what you're going to want to do is, guys, you're going to want to be prepared for how to set up, how to set up your strategies, how to set up your trading instructions and things like that. I'm going to walk you through it. I know I covered this on Thursday, so you guys who kind of got it down by now, just bear with me, because we have new people in this one who's going to want to know how, getting more and more people to register, signing up with Brokerage Plus every day. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on that going forward. But let me just, and also Michael Noss is putting together a video tonight that's going to help as well. So we'll be able to pass out a link when people ask us. But real quickly, guys, if you've been using Brokerage Plus for a while, it's very similar to what you've been doing in that. So let's just talk about what you need to do. Okay, when you pull up your Brokerage Plus module, what you're going to want to do is go to New, and you're going to go to AI tab. Very similar to our trading site. We can launch everything from New, same thing in Brokerage Plus. You go to New, go to AI tab. There you have it. It pulls up the AI tab with all the strategies that make the cut each morning. These are going to change. Out with the old, in with the new. New strategies are going to come in here. They're going to be defaulted to all be off. Okay, it's going to be up to you to decide, which ones you want to turn on. You can select all long. Okay, you can select all short if you like, or if you're so brave, you can highlight all of them, right click, and enable 15 strategies. That would cut them all on. All right, let me just cut them off real quick so we can go back to disable them. Just right click till you see that gray area, and then just click on disable. All right, so now what you need to do, that's how you're going to turn on, enable and disable your strategies. But now you're going to have to go in and set up your trading instructions, we call them. Very similar to when you're setting up your own strategies. You're going to right click in here. You're going to edit long trading strategies. Let's start with that. Let's say on the AI. Are you talking about yours, Mark? Okay. Yes. Do you have premium? Okay. Have you paid for for Brokerage Plus yet?
But it says that for everybody until it is enabled.
Right. Oh,
Well,
I didn't know if he was talking about Brokerage Plus or Holly. Let's see. Yes, Mark. Okay, so you're grandfathered in. Yes, you're not going to be turned on yet. If you're talking about this right here, you're not going to be turned on yet. It's not going to be enabled. That's good. That's what I'm talking about is going to happen on Wednesday. We're going to enable everybody on Wednesday. Yeah. And you're going to want to set up your long trading instructions. So let's just click on here, guys, and take a look at what you do. All right. And let's call this is named long. Let's say you want to name it Holly AI long account. This is I'm assuming if you have more than one count with IB, you could edit and change counts in there. If you only have one account, I don't think it's just going to be on your defaulted one account. AI trade mode. You're going to have 3 choices here. Okay. All right. You're going to have risk off. You're going to have risk on, or you're going to have best of risk off or risk on. Okay. And what this means is, guys, is if a trade or if an alert goes off. Let's take, for example, alert goes off in Holly Grail. And at the time it goes off, Holly Grail is on risk on for her best scenario. Okay, so in other words, there's more profits in risk on than risk off. So if it is on risk on, that means that trade will execute in risk on mode. If it's in risk off, obviously it's going to execute in risk off mode. Now, the question I had, I did get answered. I did not know it last Thursday, is what happens if you're on risk on and the best of risk on, risk off mode at the beginning of the day before when the first trade comes out. And here's the answer you got. Unless risk on is greater than risk off, it's going to always execute in risk off mode. So that means the first trade of the day will always be in risk off mode if you have this selected. Okay. Now, I'll come back around to that, guys, and tell you kind of what I'd recommend you doing at first when it comes to this. Position sizing, if you've been using Brokerage Plus for your own strategies, it's exactly the same. Okay, you can use fixed dollars, you can use fixed shares, or you can use based upon stop loss. This is what everyone here pretty much at Trade Ideas uses. So if you want to come in here and just say, and I recommend at the beginning, first of all, I recommend paper trading, and then I recommend going very small size till you get comfortable with this. Position sizing, you're going to, excuse me, let me get me a drink of water here. If you select based on stop loss, it is going to calculate the number of shares based upon the number of shares to buy based upon if the price goes to the stop target, you'd only lose $50. Okay, so let's say, for example, it's a 25-cent stop loss. Okay, it's only going to go out there and buy the number of shares, whereas if that does go down to the 25-cent stop loss, that's all you're going to use is $50. So I hope that makes sense. And once again, guys, when you start out with this, when you do go into real money, be careful. I mean, if you used a fixed dollars amounts, make sure it's really small. Whatever you decide to use here, just make sure it's small until you get familiar with this. Entry order is exactly the same as you're doing right now with your own strategies. Okay, you have a limit. Your last price is going to be your alert price. Okay. And your limit offset that's if you you're going to be using a negative figure if you want to be more aggressive. Okay, so basically, if you've used any type of delta in any of your execution platforms, this is the same as delta. So in other words, a negative -02 means, let me just give you an example. If your alert goes off at $10, okay, the software is going to go out and try to get you these shares, but they're not going to go any further than $10.02. Okay, so basically, it's a limit offset of a -2. And this goes both ways, no matter if you're trying to go long or trying to go short. In the example I just gave you, if the price trigger was $10 and you're trying to go short, it's going to go as far as $9.98 to get you filled. Okay? If you're using a positive number, that means you're being less aggressive. You're trying to get a better price than what the alert went off at. So example, let's say you're using a positive 0.05. And in our example, the trigger's at, and you're trying to go long, it triggers at $10. It's going to send a limit order out there at $9.95. Okay, so if you use a positive number, it's less aggressive. You're trying to get a better price. If you're using a negative number, you're trying to be more aggressive. Maybe you're trying to catch a momentum stock or something like that. Time in force, this is how long it's going to keep the order out there. This is based on minutes. So it's based upon seconds. 120 seconds will be 2 minutes. Okay, I'll be real interested to see how Holly trading affects the thinner. Yes, David, and you're right. You know, honestly, the thinner stocks, especially the momentum ones, you know, with a bunch of people jumping in the system and trying to utilize this, I imagine, yeah, you can find slippage as high as 5 to 8 cents. Waleed, you may want to sell it at -5. I'm not sure what you mean there, Waleed. 0.05 cents. Yeah, that's what. No, you might want to set it. I'm sorry. You might want to set it. Yeah, Waleed's saying if you want to get more aggressive, you may want to set it at a -0.05. I'm going to talk about what I talked about the other day. This is pretty much it on this. Oh, let me go over the real quickly. Let me go over the re-entry enabled. So what we have here, guys, is what's called a re-entry. The way we designed this, and we had a good example in Holly today. And Steve, I think I forgot to go through Holly, but I will in a minute.
All right.
Let me see if I can find that good example. I think it was in 2.0, and I think it was in Neo, and I think it was Beta. No, it wasn't. Geez, let me see. No, it was long. Let me see. Let me look in 2.0 again. Oh, there it is. It's First Solar. Okay. So in First Solar example, I want to do this with a chart. So what the re-entry does, guys, let's say you enter this First Solar, okay? And all of a sudden, you know, it rolls over and you get stopped out. So what the re-entry does, it calculates the middle point of your trigger. In other words, the alert were triggered and your stop. It calculates the middle point, and that's going to be your re-entry if you choose re-entry. In other words, if you have this enabled, what's going to happen is it's going to after you get stopped out, it's going to re-enter at the halfway point. So let me just draw a line markup right here. So what would happen in this case? You would re-enter. So in this example right here, it worked out pretty good. You know, you'd have got stopped out, but you would have re-entered, and if you would have held it, you would have, you know, made back everything you lost plus a little in this case. Yeah, Waleed, First Solar would have worked out well. Now let me show you how you set that up. First of all, you have to check re-entry enabled. All right, and then you're also going to have to go in here and set up your re-entry parameters. It's the exact same thing as you saw in the one this. You will set it up as risk off, risk on, the same thing. I believe, Steve, I'm not sure about this, but I think the stop is the same, isn't it? Do you know that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
I would think it would be the exact. I would think it would be the same stop from before. I don't think it would go much lower. I can ask, and I can get back to you.
Okay, that'd be great. Uh, these are little things we're still working on it. And guys, this is why when you start this, everybody needs to start in paper trading mode. You really do. I mean, this is new. You want to see how it's. I mean, anybody who comes in and just turns all these on and loads up the money, I mean, you're just asking for it. Okay. But the setup is pretty easy. Like I said, if you've been using Brokerage Plus, it's pretty much the same as setting up your own strategies. Actually, it's a little bit easier because the stops are all already configured for you. Yes, Waleed. Yeah, absolutely paper trading. And then when you do go live, go small size. Because once again, guys, here's my advice when it comes to using Brokerage Plus, and I think people. I mean, there's so much good about this product. The way you can use charts and just right-click in them at any time and trade First Solar using any of your trading parameters that you've created. It's a great blotter. You can sort by your profits, your P&L when you're in positions. You can just sort by so many things. It's aesthetically very nice to look at versus most. I know not most. Every one of the trading softwares, and I probably used 10 different ones over my career, and this is just so much more pleasant to view than the crap I've. You got to look at it, some of these brokerage platforms. And really, this is all you need. You don't need to have Traders Workstation up at all, and in the future when we do sign on with more brokers, I mean, all you're going to be needing is just one module. Everything can be done from your charts and from this one little module right here. But what I was going to get at, guys, I mean, build your own strategies. All right, I'm talking more and more people, showing them how you can build these strategies with really good entries, and then you just manage them. And obviously, yeah, you can take some of Holly's AI, but I don't think the way to do this is to just come in and just turn them all on and let them go, because I think you're going to be over trading if you do that. I think the way to do it, what I would recommend doing is I would have them, when the market opens up, I'd have them all in the off position. I would get a good feel over the market, If the sunrise mover is in here, you may miss some of the early ones. Maybe you just want to turn that one on, put it on small size, and leave the rest of them off if you see sunrise mover, because that one will take a lot of early entries. But for the most part, I would just kind of sit back, get a feel for the market for the first half hour, and then come in here and maybe pick some strategies that you'd want to implement using your knowledge of what the market is currently doing, and maybe some some other stuff that you're looking at. Because I think too many people are putting too much emphasis on auto trading Holly. All right, and I think you're missing the big boat. You really are. You're missing the big boat on how great this product is. Let me see. I got a question coming in here.
I also confirmed that the original stop will remain the same. That was
okay.
Michael's understanding.
Okay. So getting back to this First Solar example, if you did re-enter at the midway point right here, the original stop would stay in place. So if you went, yeah, just so keep that in mind. The beautiful thing about this, guys, I mean, honestly, what you're going to find yourself doing, whether you're using your own strategies or Holly strategies, is you're going to be managing your risk, and you're going to be kind of flowing with the market. I can show you example, and we'll go into Holly right now today, where here's a couple of trades this morning, and I know we show risk on for a stock after it's been stopped out. If it returns to profitability, it's giving you an idea of where the stock is. If you want to get back in, re-enter it. But where you have the biggest advantage is a stock, say for example this edit, where it triggers and it goes off and you're in the money for an hour, okay, and then the market rolls over like it did right here this morning. All right, this is potentially where you could take a profit in the stock or at least get out for a flat, where Holly is going to continue to calculate risk on. It's going to go against her. So that's a disadvantage to our risk on. When you you have more aware of what's going on around you, you know, as far as the market, and where you could actually get better P&L than Holly by managing risk better. Another example, you know, I saw here today was, and I mentioned it right when I saw it, was in this PBTL short. It was a beautiful short, and right when it broke down right here, I said, oh man, this one was looking good, and I put rainbow of death, and sure enough, what happened? Just a perfect little rainbow of death, and just went lower and lower. Well, this started when the market went lower, okay? So if Holly gets off on risk off for 150, and you're sitting here watching this, okay, and Holly gets out for, I don't see the exit price of 2032. So she's getting out right here, and you're watching the market, you know, go to lows, and this chart looks beautiful. I don't know why I have a 5-minute, oh, I was helping somebody work out over there. Yeah, this is the daily as it was rolling over. Guys, you have a great advantage here where you can manage this risk and get a lot more profits out of this trade. Look at that, went right down to its 50-day moving average. So guys, this is idea generation. There are some great ideas that come through this, okay? But to think you're going to come in here and just turn it on and select risk on and see what happens at the end of the day and you're going to make a lot of money, I'm just going to tell you, don't do it. It's not going to work. But if you use this for what it's meant to be, good trade ideas, and you manage the risk, and like a trader should do every position, I think you could, you know, you can greatly benefit from Holly. Yes, Stan. You can use, this is a great question. Stan asked, can you use Holly strategies at the same time as your own strategies? Absolutely. It's going to be a total different tab. So you can have them over here. Now your positions window is going to show you your own strategies trades and Holly trades. So you'll be able to see them all, okay, under your positions tab. But you're going to have a separate location for your strategies. This will be your own strategies, and this will be the, you know, Holly strategies. So you'll have to turn them on and off in the different tab. But yes, once they start firing away, this is just going to reflect the same thing that's going to be on your trader's workstation. So, but it's going to show you in a much pleasurable fashion. All these trades, man. How can you override risk on and risk off by using Holly? Well, good question. Bill asked, how can you override Holly? Obviously, when this is going to have stops in it, and the best way to do that, Bill, is once again, you have to, if you're not around, you can't do not do that. Okay, you're going to have to select which one you want to watch. I mean, which one you want to go with, and then you're going to get stopped out. But if you're watching it, all right, you're watching a trade goes off. Well, as soon as it goes off, it's going to show you the stop, just like it's doing right here in Pivotal. As soon as it entered this trade, your stop popped up here, your target's down here. All right, let's say the trade's going in your favor and you want to override the stop. All you're going to be doing is clicking this, and I'm sorry guys, I'm disconnected. I'm so mad at IB for taking away our demo, but we'll get that fixed soon. But anyway, you're going to be able just to click this and drag your stop to wherever you want it. So you can drag it down here to a flat. Maybe if something's getting, I don't recommend doing this too much, maybe it's getting ready to trigger, I want to give it another 2 or 3 cents, so you can raise it up a little bit. So same goes with target. You can manipulate your target as well. Just by, that's going to be the easy way, Bill, to override the stop. As soon as the trade goes off, take a look at it. If you want to tighten it up, just drag. Sweet. Just use the chart and drag it around. And let's take a look at a few more Holly trades, because Holly Grail had a really, I thought had a really good day. 6 trades, no stopped hits. Look at this, timed exits and all. Not even a reduced risk. It was either profit save or timed exit. So in risk off, there was no loser. I mean, risk on performed a little bit better. Let's take a look here. Oh, what did I do that for? Dang it. I hate when I do that. So risk on was 849 in my example, where I'm using $200 based upon stop. It's the most I'm willing to risk on any trade in this scenario down here. 849 on risk on and 441. So a decent day. Obviously, some really good days here on. Some really good trades on risk on, just because trades continue to work. That would have been tough though, to get the risk on that one. Here's another one, was a flat that finally went. Qualcomm, but some good trades. A nice little buy on a pullback there. All right, just wondering why she waited till India had a run of 72 cents from the open before entering. Jumping in strategy on NFE. Let's take a look at NFE for you there, Randy. Yeah, if I had to look at that, Randy, I see what you're saying, but you have to understand a lot of these strategies are built upon the daily as well. And I think what happens is, yeah, on this case, it triggered right before it took out yesterday's high or Friday's high. So that's why it was showing strength and then starting to go sideways, and then looked like it was going to, poke it. It did and came back real quick, but yeah. It'd be nice to catch them earlier, but really, that's kind of in no man's land. If you looked right, at the beginning of the day where it opened up, it's just nothing going on. But what it saw was, hey, this thing is doing decent volume, and it looks like it wants to take out yesterday's high. No, Randy. Yeah, Holly cannot be used to scan your own custom symbols. We have no idea what Holly's going to come out with each day. She is set up with parameters and of course an alert, and everything's got to line up, and that's when it triggers, and no one knows what's going to come out until it spits it out. But let's see if anything else I had written down here, guys, to discuss with you. Oh yeah, real quickly, yeah, the Holly 2.0, not a bad day either, 1.27. A lot of trades though. That's why I kind of liked Holly Grail a lot better. She got out of the blocks kind of bad today with a couple of actually risk ons were that Bob, but the risk off kind of faded. And then Holly Neo, only 7 trades in Holly Neo, and just kind of a wash back and forth. You can see there with the red and green, nothing bad, nothing real good either. Okay, can you limit how many trades Holly takes per strat? Yes, good question. Mm-hmm. Well, you can your own strategies when it comes to Holly. We actually have a governor on her.
Well, you'd probably just go turn off. You could just go to that front page there and just turn off that strategy. Yeah. But it's not set to infinity. The master controller of the AI won't let infinity go out. But there is a threshold, and if you don't want to hit that threshold, you can turn the strategy off yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amy, what he's saying, it just when you feel like it, trade enough, just disable it. Just cut it off and on. By doing it that way is going to be the easiest part. Yeah. Yeah, Steve asked what determines an amount of shares, and that's what I was talking about. So if you look here on my strategies trades window, you're going to see these shares, 322, 800, 475, why are they sporadic like that? Well, you have access to do this too if you're using premium. Okay, guys, if you go to Tools and go to Options, you're going to have what's called AI Trade Size down here. And if you click on that, you're going to have an option, just like I was showing you inside the Brokerage Plus, that says dollars per trade, shares per trade, or risk based upon stop loss. Okay, so what it's doing is calculating the number of shares I buy if the trade goes down to the stop, that I would lose $200. If you wanted to put 100 in there, I could do that, and you watch, it will change. If I save, now all those shares just change, and so did all my P&Ls based upon the share size. So Steve, that's how you do it, and it's basically going to be the same thing you do in the side Brokerage Plus when you create, if you do based on stop loss. Because remember, every one of Holly's alerts comes with a stop loss. Okay, so whatever amount you want to lose, you're willing to lose. If it goes down to that stop loss, that's the amount you want to put in this little white space right here. So if you never want to lose $50, but $50 a trade, put that in there. Now, let me say this. You will see some values over, and the reason you will, because this is based upon the alert price, okay? And it's based upon you getting out exactly at the stop price. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of slippage here. Okay, so these values, if you're using something of $50, you may see sometimes getting out at, for a $52 or $53 loss. Or if you're using 200, you might see a 210, 215, because once again, there's going to be some slippage. This is why I was telling people, guys, get creative with this. Okay, we're just starting a risk off and risk on. Yeah, you could do that, Waleed. Waleed says, would you recommend starting in risk off mode or risk on mode, or I thought you said risk off. I would start in. Way I would do this, guys, honestly. First of all, I would get creative with my my deltas, where I was showing you where you would use -2 to be more aggressive, or a positive number if you want to be less aggressive and maybe let the price come to you. What I would do, I would look at some of these contrarian alerts, like on support, putting on breaks. Go look at our strategies and see which one of them are kind of fading strategies. And what I would do is I would go in and try to get less aggressive and get a better price. Okay? I promise you, man, if all the squirrels come in and start chasing the same nut, man, it's not going to work, So that's why, you got to get creative, and don't come in and try to trade all the strategies. Take a look at the market. Maybe put in some fading strategies where people get in and they get scared because it keeps going against them, and they cough it up, and you're there waiting to get to enter. You can get very creative with this. I mean, Steve made a good point the other day. This is like what do you call it? Like a canvas. This is like your canvas right here, and these are all different brushes. And at the end of the day, you want to paint a pretty picture. But did I lose you, Steve? He usually would have something to say by now.
I'm sorry, Andy. Were you waiting for me to say something? I didn't hear.
No. I didn't know if I had lost you or what. Because okay. I was using your example the other day where this is kind of a canvas, and these strategies are your paintbrushes, and it's your job to paint a pretty picture. But
exactly.
So yeah, get creative with this. Don't feel like you have to come in. I can tell you right now, if it's a thin stock, it only does maybe 150 to 200,000 shares a day, and it's a momentum, and you're using a delta of -0.7 and 0.8. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and but you can get creative and try to get better prices. You might not catch them all, but the ones you do, hey, you're going to get a better price, and maybe because once I've always told people that Trade Ideas is just a, I'm sorry, Holly, to me, is just a great alert, just like I have many of them. You know, but to come in and think I can just hook up a bot to it and walk away and make money, nah, it's not going to happen. If Holly triggers, say, 50,000 shares to buy at a certain price, but only 25 get executed, who gets the shares? Well, first of all, Holly's not going to trigger anything because Holly is just an alert. Holly's not out there buying anything. Okay. Now, if you have 5,000 traders on it, all trying to buy 1,000 shares, okay, yeah, good question. Good question, Steve. It's probably a question for the developers or something. But yeah, I don't have an answer to that right off the bat. All right, guys, listen, once again, we're going to be having, we're off tomorrow. I imagine, Dan, and you don't want to miss that webinar on Wednesday. That'll be Dan, our CEO, and Brad Williams, and they'll have a lot to say about this because that's hopefully the day it's going to go live. So, try to attend that. Thursday, Jamie will be sitting in for me, and I know he's going to talk about this too. So, guys, just we'll spend a lot of time on it this week for sure. Oh, guest web. I don't know if there's a guest webinar for Wednesday. I don't know. Scott may know. But speaking of Scott, I'm going to ask him, since we only have a couple of minutes left, to come walk us out of here. And let me present again and load up here.
All right, yeah, thank you. So a couple items on the way out. We do have an ebook that we launched last year. Andy and Steve and Jamie and Sean all contributed chapters. It's got 5 ways to win in a post-BTFD market, so there's a chapter for each strategy. Go ahead and get it for free. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook, put in your email address, and get the download link if you don't already have it. We have a podcast you can subscribe to. We release most Fridays. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and hit the subscribe button. Add us. Check it out. We do have a promo code, March On, all caps. It can be used for any new subscription or any upgrade subscription if you want to upgrade from standard to premium. And it saves 15% off the first month or year of Trade Ideas. So it's good for any upgrade, any subscription. You can also use that discount if you decide to purchase Brokerage Plus, and you'll get more information about that in the next few days as we launch it. And if you have any questions, you can follow Steve on Twitter at TodayTrader, Jamie Hodges at QuantBot. We have Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro, where we post items on Facebook that you can share with your friends. Info@trade-ideas.com is the best place to send any questions because that gets routed to the appropriate team member who understands what you're asking and can answer your question fast. So use that if you have any questions. We're going to have a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jamie. Sounds like someone's calling you.
Yeah.
Everyone have a good one. Until next
time. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.